Okay, so basically, the guy who I think is going to display his best form of striking and wrestling is going to be Ryan Bader. I'm going to pick the upset here. I know I'm probably going to be a fool for doing this because Jon Jones probably might come out with some spectacular shit and just completely overwhelm Ryan Bader and just leave me looking, like I said, stupid. But yeah, I think Ryan Bader, I think for this fight, I think he's going to try to put a lot of pressure on Jon Jones. I think he's going to come forward. I expect him to push Jones, I should say, up against the cage, knee him in the clinch, maybe throw some dirty punches in there, or some dirty boxing, whatever you want to call it. But I do expect to see him do some damage with Jon Jones up against the fence, and I think he will be able to take Jon Jones down in this fight. I don't know how many times he'll be able to take him down, but I do believe Ryan Bader can take Jon Jones down, especially with his quickness and his strength. I don't think Jon Jones has ever met a wrestler with the speed that Ryan Bader has. He probably may have met a strong wrestler, aka Matt Hamill, but Matt Hamill does not possess the same type of speed that Ryan Bader has. So I think that's going to be the difference between Bader from Hamill. But if Bader does take Jon Jones down, he needs to get on top as quick as possible and start dropping punches and elbows, because Jon Jones, he's very he moves around a lot, especially from the bottom. Even though we've never seen him on the bottom, I'm sure him working with some BJJ black belts at Greg Jackson's camp, Joe Stevenson, Nate Marquardt, among others. I know that they have practiced with him probably moving around and attacking from his back. So Ryan Bader is going to have to pin him down, if at all costs, get into side control, and probably look to lock up a crucifix hold and just drop punches from there. But if Ryan Bader does take Jon Jones down, he needs to keep him there. Bottom line. But I do think Ryan Bader will somehow get this win. I'm gonna say unanimous decision. Well, not unanimous decision, but I'm gonna say a split decision. I'll say that Ryan Bader by a split decision. But I mean, who knows? Jon Jones could just, like I said, he just do like some unbelievable stuff and just prove me wrong. And who knows? It might happen anyway. I mean, I won't be surprised if Jon Jones wins the fight. I really won't. But I just have a sinking feeling here that Ryan Bader is the type of wrestler that can give Jon Jones problems. That's just in my opinion. Okay, next fight. Moving on. Forrest Griffin versus Rich Franklin. The second half of our triple main events on UFC 126. Basically, when I saw this match, when they put Forrest Griffin up against Rich Franklin, I ain't gonna even lie to y'all. I was like, man, another bad matchup for Forrest Griffin. They just keep pretty much putting him in the octagon with these big, these big, powerful strikers. Pretty much. I mean, when Forrest fought Rampage, Forrest got rocked a lot in that fight. When he fought Anderson Silva, well, you know what happened there. And now they're putting him up against another striker in Rich Franklin. Well, basically, Rich Franklin is a fairly complete fighter, but you know his forte has been his striking. But I don't know, man. Forrest does not seem to do too well against guys who can strike good. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how Forrest deals with the striking of Rich Franklin. Um, will he even strike with Rich Franklin? Will he just try to get the fight to the mat, which I think is the perfect strategy for him, being that I would say he is slightly, just maybe a tad better than Rich on the ground, even though Rich Franklin has some awesome submissions as well. But if Forrest can get Rich Franklin to the mat and keep him there, I believe Forrest will win this fight. I mean, despite of what I think about him, you know, I still don't think he's, you know, a top 10 light heavyweight in my opinion. But that's another story for a different chapter. But you know, if Forrest can get Rich Franklin on the ground, then he will win this fight. But he needs to keep Rich on the mat if he can for all 3 rounds and make this a methodical, boring fight, and in the end try to secure a submission. Now Rich Franklin, on the other hand, he can be taken down. Because in the Chuck Liddell fight, well, then again, at the same time, Rich got injured in that fight. You know, he, as you probably saw, you know, he had his left arm broken, or his right arm. I think it was his right arm. No, it was his left arm. He got injured in that fight. You know, he broke his shoulder trying to block a kick from Chuck Liddell. So you could probably say, had not Rich injured his arm in that fight, he probably would have defended that takedown. But I think that Rich Franklin does have pretty good takedown defense, and I believe he will be able to take Forrest Griffin's, be able to defend Forrest Griffin's takedowns, because I don't even know if Forrest Griffin will attempt a takedown in this fight, but if he does, I do believe that Rich can stuff it. In the striking for Forrest, he needs to, you know, develop some creativity and some technique in his striking, because in the Anderson Silva fight, like, he didn't even give Anderson Silva a scare. Like, it looked like, you know, it was something out of a martial arts demonstration DVD or something. You know, Anderson was just countering and moving away from everything Forrest threw at him. So if Forrest Griffin is going to be able to give Rich Franklin problems standing up, then he needs to really sharpen up his kicks and his punches, and he needs to be more unpredictable. That's it. But truthfully though, the only way Forrest Griffin wins this fight is if he gets it to the ground, and I don't think he will do that. I think he will be tempted to stand up and trade with Rich, and I think Rich will eventually end up catching him like he does all of his opponents somewhere early in the fight. I think what's going to happen is Rich is going to, of course, you know, use his footwork and head movement, and he's going to use angles. He's going to set up his punches with kicks, of course. I think you're going to see him throw that that looping, I think it's that looping left hand that he likes to throw. I think you're going to look for him to use that. And I think he's going to end up clipping Forrest with it at first. And then probably Forrest is going to come forward and Rich Franklin is going to counter, and he'll end up catching him again with it, except this time he'll land it flush and he'll pound him out, and Rich Franklin will win the fight. And I could see this happening in the second round, TKO. Alright, going on to the main event. The most epic and probably most anticipated UFC middleweight championship match of all time. It's going to be two of the UFC's or MMA's best strikers finally coming together for the middleweight championship of the world. Anderson the Spider Silva versus Vitor the Phenom Belfort. Now, there's really nothing to say about this fight because we know these two guys' backgrounds. We know what they've done in the sport of MMA. It's just that now they're in the prime of their career and they're finally going to meet. Now, you know probably what this match is going to end up being is going to be a battle of the strikes and who can display their best form of striking the best. Now already everybody's giving Anderson Silva the edge over Vitor. But I think that people are forgetting, which they always seem to do, about Vitor's hand speed. I mean, sure, you may think that when people talk about that they're trying to overhype Belfort over Silva, which is not the case. But the reason why they keep talking about Vitor's hand speed because it's true. And I hope that Anderson Silva believes that it's true. Because if he doesn't, he's going to find himself for the first time in his career flatline in the middle of the octagon. Because Vitor can do it. And then another thing, people think that Vitor's getting overhyped getting overhyped over Anderson because they talk about the way he moves in the octagon. Well, again, the reason why they say that because it is true. It's a fact. Vitor's movement in the ring is just like a lightning bolt. Like literally, like when it's thundering outside and you see that lightning bolt in the sky. Yeah. Try to put that in a human being. That human being is Vitor Belfort. That's how he moves. He moves like a lightning bolt. Like 1 minute when you get ready to punch, you think he's there. He's over on the other side of you, waiting to throw that right cross. Every time you try to kick, Vitor's already behind you, ready to take you down and submit you. That's how fast this guy is, and people need to respect it, especially the new MMA fans, also known as the casual fans. But the new fans need to respect Vitor's hand and body movement. Seriously. Now Anderson, on the other hand, we know he's fast and we know he's accurate. And we know that he's going to try to make Vitor come to him so that way he can display, that arsenal of strikes that he's so well known for. I know he's going to try to put Vitor in the Muay Thai plum at moments. Hopefully Vitor has a strategy to counteract that. As far as the ground goes, I'll give Anderson an edge. I believe he can submit Vitor, being that he does have the longer limbs, but at the same time, I believe Vitor can beat up Anderson in his guard. And I think that, personally, Vitor can pass Anderson Silva's guard and possibly submit him from there. Do I think it's going to go to the ground? No. Would it surprise me if it did? No. Who am I going to pick in this fight? Listen, I'll put it like this. I expect Anderson to probably win, but I'm going to go with the Phenom, though. I just think that he's going to surprise Anderson with his head movement and body movement and footwork. And I think, once he hits Anderson with a couple of those combinations, he's going to get stunned by that. And I could eventually see Vitor catching Anderson